Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. Now we're less than a week away from the big mega IPL auction. Might be one of the last auctions, even though I kind of doubt that. But it looks like it might be the last mega auction in a while for sure. I have with me my co-host Abrar Aziz. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited that there's no more weekends in the middle of the IPL auction. The next weekend will be the auction. So, looking
Yeah,
forward to that.
it's gonna be a big auction. In this episode, we look at Ahmedabad. They've retained three players. We look at their strategies going into the auction, who we think they're gonna buy, and it's a new team, so it'll be difficult to second guess. But let's have some fun looking at the three players already. But first, I want to say that yeah, it's going to be. We'll have some big plans for auction day and everything, but you will be traveling, so I feel bad for whoever you're with because I've seen you in the last month. All you've been doing is coming up with the auction names, this, that, and everything. So I feel bad, not for me, for anyone you're traveling with, because even if you're not going to be working, you won't be able to be like you will be distracted.
Let me try and see if I can get out of it. I'm still trying. I'll know by Wednesday for sure.
That's amazing, man. So yeah, Ahmedabad they retain three players. Just help me out here. It's
I
Hardik
don't
Pandya.
want to help you out here. You have
Uh,
to figure this out.
it's,
No, I'm just messing you. Hardik
it's
Pandya,
Hardik
Shubman Gill,
Pandya,
and Rashid Khan.
Shubman Gill, and I forgot Rashid Khan.
Shut up, liar.
I completely forgot. Seriously, I knew Shubman Gill and what's his name? Hardik Pandya. So Hardik Pandya, captain. First of all, how do you assess that?
I think like Sanju Samson and KL Rahul, I feel like if they don't get another strong personality in this team, I think Hardik Pandya will struggle because the first time you're a captain, there are always a lot of things that you have to juggle with. Hardik Pandya is a little bit more of a uh, uh, he's a different kind of a personality by himself. So I don't know how much of the captaincy will he be able to manage along with a lot of other things that have to work around it. So in my opinion, I don't know how this team will go through the auctions. They feel like a team that's very laid back. They still haven't decided the name. Nothing has been decided. Even for the longest time, there was a lot of their issues with the payment structures and all with CVC capital and everything. So I don't know what's going on in this team. Uh, they have an interesting combination as their coaching staff with Ashish Nehra and Gary Kirsten. That's like poles apart in my opinion, but it's going to be interesting. An Ashish Nehra Hardik Pandya kind of combination is something I'm interested to see. Will they go the Punjab route or will they go the like more the CSK MI kind of route is what I'm thinking, because it can go either way, right? At this point with Ahmedabad and Lucknow, we have to just wait and kind of assess how they go about their business in the IPL, in the auctions in the first season, and then we can make a judgment on which side they are swing. They could go where they or will they be like the time that's Punjab that's still struggling right now, and to an extent Rajasthan Royals, or are they like the Delhi and the Bangalore that kind of started off slowly, improved themselves? Or are they more like the CSK and MI who've been consistently good throughout? So it's going to be interesting to see. I've been fair with their team, even though I have a pain, like biggest pain for me has been Rashid Khan leaving Sunrisers and not going into the auctions. If he went into the auctions, I would still be okay. But to accept another contract to the team before the auctions was heartbreaking for me as a Sunriser fan, of course. So we'll
Do you
see how
think?
that plays out.
Yeah, do you think Jason Roy was punishing him today for leaving Sunrisers because he swept him for a couple of boundaries today in the
Uh,
PS?
I still think that someone needs to hit him for like 50 runs or 4 overs or something. Only then I'll
But
be
yeah,
like
I mean,
extremely satisfied.
I'm watching him carefully. Honestly, his batting has improved. Bowling, I wouldn't say people are figuring him out, but at times he looks unplayable. At times he does get hit here and there. I think, as time goes, you'll see some more, batsmen attacking him, but it won't be easy for sure. I think he's a great buy. And Ahmedabad have three bases covered, right? Like a spinner, all rounder, and batsman. Of course, there's plenty to go, but at least they didn't go like all in for just three batsmen or three bowlers or something
Yeah.
like that. They got in an all rounder as well as their captain. I think it's getting those roles first
I
completed.
think
So
I
now,
think both I think both Ahmedabad and Lucknow I think had made decent decisions in terms of their retentions. They both went for an all rounder, an opening batsman, and a spinner. Like so that kind of covers three different areas. The problem with Rajasthan Royals is their top three are covered, right? They have Butler, Jaiswal, and Samson. So anything from 4 to 11 is going to be a big bet now. Any bowler that Rajasthan bids for, these guys are going to get outbid. So the prices are going to get raised. For a Punjab and Rajasthan, that could be an issue. So those are the things that they'll have to see. Even though Sunrisers didn't make good uh, I don't think they made very good retentions, but at least they have a bowler and an all-rounder and a batsman again. So it's, that is what I thought would have made sense. A lot of people did that, but I think someone like Punjab probably Rajasthan and Punjab kind of missed a trick or two over there. So those are the things which we'll have to see, and those are the little challenges that'll come through in the auction, and that's the fun of it, obviously.
Yep, 100%. And let's hear your team and who's partnering the likes of Rashid with the ball and who's batting with Shubman Gill.
So I have an interesting team over here. So I'm going to go in from 1 to 11. So I have, in my opinion, Ahmedabad needs another talisman to kind of help Pandya out in his first 1 or 2 seasons, and that man is David Warner. I have
Yeah,
gone with David Warner, Shubman Gill, Suresh Raina at 3, Dinesh Karthik at 4, Sam Billings at 5. I've got Hardik Pandya at 6, Deepak Chahar at 7, Rash at 8, Marco Jansen at 9, Kuldeep Yadav at 10, and Chetan Sakaria at 11. So that's the
exactly.
team that I've gone out with. The impact buys are obviously the Deepak Chahar, who will probably cost them a decent amount of money. David
Yeah.
Warner obviously will cost them a good amount of money. I think Kuldeep and Sakaria will be a decent amount of money again. I think these will be their impact buys. And I've gone with, because of the fact that they have only 50 CR, 53 CR, a little bit more than the likes of Chennai and Mumbai and KKR and Delhi, but still not as much as someone like a Punjab or a Lucknow or a Hyderabad have. So that's why I've gone with a little bit of a weaker middle order, but experience in there. So like a Raina, Dinesh Karthik, Sam Billings, you have a mix of experience and some explosiveness in the Billings as well. And then you have Pandya. If he can play the all rounder role, then you have that fifth bowler, that sixth bowling option as well. And then 7, 8, 9, and 10, 10, 11 will give you 20 overs easily, because Rashid Khan, Kuldeep Yadav, Sakaria, Marco Jansen, who's had a very, very good tour against India, so he'll be high on confidence. And of course, Deepak Chahar, who's proving with bat and ball in T20 cricket, he's a priceless kind of a acquisition, I think, and that's where that's kind of how I've built the balance of this team.
I've also noticed that I've counted three captains that you've picked, former captains Warner, Karthik, and Raina, to help Hardik Pandya in the field. And I don't know if you did this on purpose, but I think Warner for sure you're looking as vice captain just because you've seen the younger captains suffer a bit without experience on the field, whether it's been a Sanju Samson or even a year in his early days, he didn't have too much experience,
Yeah.
on his side.
I think it's a bit of both for me. I think it's the fact that they have a little bit of a weaker middle order. So I think that they needed that explosiveness in a Warner in the middle, and the Raina and DK. Even though they might not be at their best, but if they get picked at their base price, also just a Raina, DK, and Billings will still cost you 6 CR, because all of them are at the 2 CR
Yeah.
budget. So they will cost you a fair amount of money. So 3 players, 6 crores is a lot of money. So that's why I've gone with a little bit of experience. I still think that this team is doing well. This team will do well, but it remains to be seen, of course, how the Ahmedabad, their name is, I'm told, Ahmedabad Titans. No confirmation yet, but I don't know
Yeah.
how these Titans will go about their business. That's kind of how I've gone with it.
Yeah.
Because what's up?
No, I think strike rate could be an issue, but then you have the likes of Hardik and Deepak Chahar and Rashid Khan to just come and swing at it.
That's the thing. I mean, I tried to find a little bit of a better combination, and maybe like having another all rounder that could, and that could work. Someone you could try a Ben Cuttings instead of a Sam Billings, who gives you a little bit more of an all round option. But I think even Billings is a pretty decent strike rate kind of guy. I think Warner can go up top and just kind of go bam. I think Dinesh Karthik as well. I think he can also just go bam from ball one. I think he's a good finisher himself. So I think Gill and Raina can kind of manage this innings a little bit. I still think that the weak middle order is a little weak, but just in terms of the personnel that's available, and the targets that we've just had people. I've just chosen from people who will probably just be who've already played in the IPL. I haven't gone the under 19. Maybe they could just pick up a Sheikh Rashid or a Yash Dhul for that matter and give them a go instead of a Raina and a DK, and that could really work out very well, because
Yeah, of course,
of
you can
course,
go with these plays and then add the youngsters in your squad, and you can always miss and this is just 11. They're
correct.
gonna go with 25, right?
Yeah,
So there's going to be players there as backup. Even foreign players, you might even have a cutting there with
correct.
the sampling. So you can go like
Or a Tim David for that matter. I think he's a
yeah,
fantastic
he's,
form. He's in
yeah,
very, very good form. So
Yeah.
even he can come in at number 5 to really blow things
I
apart. He
think
gives
he's
you
a
a couple of overs
very
with the
good
ball.
pick. Yeah, for teams like even like Rajasthan, Punjab, these kind of teams, even Sunrisers for that matter. But I think normally you see these teams picking up foreigners who are not in the limelight. I think Tim David is one you should go for sure.
Absolutely, I think that's a good shout. I think for someone like I think I have well, no, I don't have Tim David. I think Tim David came in a little bit later, but he's going to be an important player. I don't have him in my 10 teams, but I think he's going to be an important player to be, and he might make almost a fair amount of starting 11s as well.
Yeah, 100%. Vin is in the house. He's asking, what about Cadmore? I'm
Cadmore,
I don't know what that is, man. I don't know.
I'm not
Oh,
sure.
I don't know. I think that's a spelling mistake. But yeah, she's lost. I've lost track right now. But yeah, I think from what you looked at, I think you covered one thing which is really good. If it does happen, is Kuldeep. It'll give him a
And
lot of
Rush,
confidence with Rashid Khan.
yeah.
England player Cadmore. Honestly, I haven't heard of him. I'll do some research, Vinay, but I haven't heard of this player's name. Uh, but Don, you can do. We'll discuss it once we find out. I honestly can't speak about him. It's the first time seeing his name. Playing amazing in
Oh,
T10.
he's Tom Kohler Cadmore, English cricketer. Yeah, he's um, interesting.
Yeah,
I
okay.
will have to do a little bit more research about him.
I don't want to. I'm not a betting man, but yeah, I don't see this guy going for big bucks. Just from his team. I haven't looked at his thing, but if he played well in T10, I don't know. Like I can be completely wrong because someone like a Paul Vartati came and scored 300s in the IPL, right? No one
And
cares.
someone like Riley Meredith went for crazy money and then didn't do much,
They
in
didn't
the
do much. So
IPL as
I
well.
don't know. I'm not going to say anything. But honestly, like, I'm not laughing at the guy because I don't know him. I will do my research. But I just feel like I don't know if he's going to go for big bucks. That's just my prediction.
Yeah, I think with the amount of players in the auction, 590 players to pick,
Yeah.
it's a very
He
good.
will. He could get selected, but then he's a foreign player as well. So you might just go with the Cadmore of Indian version. You might do that, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
uh,
and I think
just
someone like Tim David, who I have not made part of my 120 people over here, is probably a better. Sorry, 110 people over here is probably a better bet.
yeah. And is Paul Sterling in the auction?
Oh, I have to check. I'm not sure.
Because he's been outstanding, man. That guy, even for Islamabad, is smashing it in T10. He also smashes it for Ireland. He smashes it. He could be like a squad player.
I think he is in the squad. You're right.
Missing performing in the BBL. The only problem with the BBL was there was a lot of people missing. You had assistant coaches also keeping in the BBL. I'm just saying that the competition wasn't as stiff. I have to see. Like I don't really know him, so I cannot comment. Like I can't say he's bad or good or how much he's going to go for. I honestly don't know him. But yeah, I think from the England players, someone like a Livingstone will be more popular. Someone like a
Yeah,
Jason Roy we saw today, he's going to be popular. And
yeah,
on top of my head, Bairstow, these kind of players
yeah, yeah.
will probably go for
Moin
big
Ali, of
bucks.
course, he's already retained, but Moin Ali or an Adil
Yeah.
Rashid for
They
that
can
matter.
still go. I'm not saying because there's 10 teams, right? So he has a chance, but
And
I don't
yeah,
know. I haven't seen him, so I really don't know.
if we look at about 250 players, that will probably be, if every team picks up 25 players, it's about 250 players, and we have only a fair few retentions. It's about 200 plus players up for grabs, positions up for grabs. So you might see a surprise or two over there. So
Yeah, 100%. And a name that I can bet on. I mean, if I was a betting man, was Kunal Pandya will be in this squad, but you haven't.
I have a strong feeling too. I think maybe if I would have just gone with the Deepak Chahar or Krunal, but for me with Punjab, the way they think, I felt like they would go for two big names, and that's why I went with Krunal and Shreyas Iyer at Punjab, and because I feel like those guys are gonna jack up their price so much, but both of those players will probably pull in about 25-30 CR away from Punjab, and that's why I've gone with them, and that's why their bowling is weak in my team at this
Yeah.
point.
Vin is in the mood of popping names. He's saying Rishid Dhawan.
Rishi Dhawan is in one of my teams. I think
Yeah,
Lucknow,
I
if
think
I'm
you
not wrong.
already did.
Yeah,
I've spoken very highly of him because he had a great
yeah,
domestic
yeah,
thing. I know him, and he's batted and bowled really well. He'll be in the radar of a lot of teams because he's an all-rounder, because he's Indian. I think he ticks a lot of boxes, so he will be in the mix. How he performs again in the IPL, it's a different stage. And also, you have to remember, we've seen plenty of times that the auction tag, the price tag, it ruins a lot of careers.
yeah.
Like, JD Unatkat.
Jaydev Unadkat. I actually, funnily enough, have Unadkat as well in my one of my teams. The same team as Lucknow. I have Jaydev Unadkat and Rishi Dhawan in Lucknow. So it's going to be interesting how
Uh,
that plays
uh,
out.
Punter's in the house as well. He's saying, do you think if Pakistan players were allowed, would Shaheen and Rizwan go for max bucks?
I think Shaheen would go for a lot of money. I think Rizwan would go for a lot of money. But I think one player who would go for a lot of money and would not be talked about is Shadab Khan. I think he's
I
having a
agree.
fantastic
Yeah.
PSL with bat and ball. He's picking up 4 wickets. He's scoring 50s for fun, and he's really taking that middle order all round option to the next level. And it's funny because we talk a lot about these middle order finisher kind of situations, and I feel like, especially in India, because of the lack of it, and even while I was making teams, that was an important aspect for me, and I was having a lot of trouble trying to create the balance of it. So it was hard, but I think. It's one of those places that's up for grabs, and I think Shadab Khan would have made a lot of money on there.
And he's only 23, 24. I was thinking that, man, like, this guy was in the squad, but they still had a Hafiz. They had, like, older players. He couldn't come back. Even, like, after they retire, they'll try someone like Moin Khan's son, Azam Khan, is it?
Azam Khan.
They might try him. They should try Shadab, but Shadab is only 23, 24. This guy can. I just hope it doesn't affect his bowling, and it hasn't yet. I think he's picked up 4 wickets in his last 3 games, so it's not affected his bowling yet. So I think someone like a Shadab would go for a lot of money.
I agree 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up. Anything last you want to talk about Ahmedabad? They have an
I'm
amazing.
just I'm just very, very intrigued. I think this is a pretty decent time, except for that little bit of a problem in the middle order, but they could go
One
for a lot
question
of
I have.
yes, yes.
Please don't tell me that the Gujarat Lions owned this team before.
No, they don't.
Are you sure?
I'm quite sure.
I have a follow-up question. That's why. So, if you're sure, do you think these guys will have a disadvantage because all the other teams have been in the auction before, and Super Giants or the Pune Super Giants, now they are the Lucknow Super Giants, so they're set. Also, they've been in the auction. They've bought someone like a MS Dhoni. Have they been? Yeah, they've been in the auction, right? Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Pune,
they've
yeah.
picked up some good players there. So I don't think they'll have much trouble. But lack of experience in the auction might cause some problems.
I have a feeling that could be a problem. I still gave them a pretty decent team. I still feel like they'll finish last because they have Rashid, and I really hope they finish last because that's the initial intent. But I have a feeling that they could struggle. I genuinely feel like they could struggle. I just hope, because the fact that Ashish Nehra and Gary Kirsten have not been part of auctions in general. I know Ashish Nehra a little bit with Bangalore, but never really the
Gary Krishna also
forefront.
was Bangalore, no?
Yeah, Gary Custon also with Bangalore a little bit. He's been in and out of a couple of sides, but he hasn't been the forefront. And these two guys will now have to take the forefront to really pick up the players. So it's going to be interesting how Ahmedabad kind of plays out. I'm intrigued, but I still gave them a pretty decent side.
Yeah, Vin is asking, anyone going to pick Srishant?
Yeah, probably not. Honestly, I think there's a lot of
Rajasthan should pick him.
options. There's a bunch of options available, and with due respect to Srishant, I think he's probably past his prime. So I think that they should probably invest that kind of money, and he's for 50 lakhs. So you probably get two youngsters in that kind of money. Two maybe, of course, they'd probably be like unknown names, but I think you'd be better off trying to pick up one or two youngsters versus someone who's, with due respect to him, past his prime.
Yep, Punter saying yes in Big Boss. He's already picked.
He's already in. I believe he was a part of the Big Boss at some point.
Yeah, he's already done that, so he won't be picked there either. So it's tough times. But yeah, I think that wraps it up. Join us right after this. We'll be looking at Lucknow
Yeah.
Super Giants, and we'll see if what's the guy's name, bro? If Cadmore will fit your team there. We'll see. But yeah,
for winner, I'll have him as number 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to know though. Like, honestly, I didn't know about him, so I'm happy that we came up with a name that we don't know. It's a nice name as well, Canadian dollars. But yeah, Don, I will catch you for the next episode.
Take care, man.